Waffling. This is another Waffling episode. Usual stuff, we're talking about some SBI shit again. And this time I just want to touch on how people bend reality a little bit. It's mostly really stupid stuff. Like, making a small little video reporting the news, saying, oh, look, SBI killed another studio, while they didn't really have much to do with that. So, let's see. Let's just watch a little video, I guess. The video in question is Sweet Baby Inc. kills entire game studio. It's by Geeks and Gamers, it seems. Yes, Geeks and Gamers. And essentially all it is just a guy with sunglasses indoors screaming at the camera that, once the game goes woke, the company goes broke. And SBI basically killed an entire studio, and it's entirely their fault. It's basically just the woke cabal taking over another studio, turning a game like a trans or whatever, and then the game goes under, just with the studio. So what this video essentially is just a guy on the camera, like with sunglasses on, basically screaming at the camera, saying, yo, this game went woke, so it went broke. And the game was a failure, the studio was a failure, oh, can you believe it? The main character of the game is a black woman, ooh, It's basically the same fucking script that we see over and over again with these videos, where people just keep saying the same stuff. It's boring at this point. I guess we can just start watching it a little bit.
The celebration shades are out today because Sweet Baby Inc. has destroyed yet another video game, and it is so damn funny to watch this play out. But not only did they destroy the video game, they took down the whole studio with them, because this is the woke rabbit hole. If you go down the woke rabbit hole, this will be the result.
So if you go down the woke rabbit hole, this will be the result. As I just explained, this is basically the narrative that always gets brought up when it comes to these, examples of, games being woke and then shutting down. He basically keeps talking about unrelated stuff, or not unrelated stuff, but he basically keeps mentioning his worldviews in the sense of inviting the woke mind virus in, and then when you invite it in, then, the game is destined to fail, the studio doesn't deserve respect. He also says that he is not very sympathetic to the game developers, which is pretty interesting, because there actually is an explanation as to why the studio is shutting down.
And what's the result? Where's all those people on Twitter? Where's all the people on Twitter saying that we need diversity, representation, inclusion? Where are they? It's almost like they don't actually care about these video games. It's almost like they're not interested in this stuff. They only want to talk about it on social media. They only want to call everybody racist and sexist, but they don't actually support any of this shit because they do not care, because they are activists. So here you have it again. Now, some people are probably going to go, well, aren't you sympathetic for the people that are losing their jobs? I am not going to be sympathetic when a company decides to bring a disease into their company so that they can then disrespect gamers. No, I'm not going to have any sympathy for that. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. I have sympathy for people that are trying to do the right thing and end up not making it for various amount of reasons, but no, not when you are actively disrespecting gamers and disrespecting your audience. No.
So here we have it. There's no amount of respect that this person can show. When you invite a disease into the studio, then this is what you deserve. Talk shit, get hit, basically. I mean, he has a certain worldview. I mean, it's always great to have certain worldviews and, to basically be, consistent with what you believe. I mean, that's all great. But the video doesn't go at all into the actual blog post that Mimi made. After a while, he rather derogatorily shows a title from an article and then basically, makes fun of the studio or comments on it. Cue a clip here.
And this is back on PC Gamer says Shadow Tactics developer Me Game shutting down. Working on increasingly ambitious games took a heavy personal toll on us and our families. What the hell are you talking about? I mean, these are people that clearly are not interested in the product. They're interested in taking a stand against social justice and equality and all the other bullshit that they claim is out there, even though you don't actually see any evidence of it. And then when you do get an actual female lead in a video game like Stellar Blade, then the entire games journalist industry is trying to go after all the gamers that are excited about it. It's a lose-lose situation. Do not invite wokeness into the equation at all.
And if you actually read the article or the statement that Mimi left, you get a different picture as to why they actually shut down or why they are not making any games anymore. Here you can read. At the same time, dedicating the past decade and a half of our lives working on increasingly ambitious games took a heavy personal toll on us and our families. After the release of Shadow Gambit, we decided it was the right time to prioritize our well-being and to pull the brakes instead of signing up for another multi-year production cycle. While this means that we won't start production on a new big game, we will continue to fully support Shadow Gambit. We are already working on a patch across all platforms and have a big content drop planned for later this year, which we are sure you will love just as much as we do. This also means that we will be slowly ramping down the studio over the next few months. We shared this decision with the whole team at an on-site meeting before releasing this announcement. And with Shadow Gambit, it's also interesting to see that if you actually go on Steam and check the reviews, most reviews are rather positive, and it seems to be a game that handled the commando genre quite well, because this is Mimi's specialty, the stealth strategy games, the commando genre. Desperados 3 is an amazing game. Shadow Gambit, I'm sure also is a pretty good game from the reviews that I'm reading. It's definitely a game that I want to try out as well. It's too bad that they stopped making games. But, we can see that it's not necessarily, a case of, going woke and then turning out broke, but rather that a small indie studio might not be ready to take on another big project or might not be ready to continue existing. Because they existed for quite a while. We have basically mostly positive reviews. All reviews are very positive. When it comes to the negative reviews, there are some that have like genuine grievances, but then there's others that are basically just saying, yeah, it's SBI woke crap, so they're boycotting the game. There even were reviews of people that were encouraging people to look past the SBI involvement and to actually play the game, because the game, even though they are involved, actually is good. It's an interesting case of community support, and their promises of continuing to support the game were not empty ones. They released multiple patches, they released modding tools, and people have been continuing to play this, like they continue playing this game. They even got DLCs, like new content that was added later on, after the studio technically shut down, I guess. The Discord community is still active. It's a case of the game that, while it may be the last game of that studio, it continues to get love, it continues to get supported, it continues to look like a pretty good game. And we can see that essentially when it comes to, the boycotters, like views on like the communities or, the people that actually, like to play these games. They don't care about the people that actually play the games. They care about, the agenda, and the agenda is, we see this certain company be involved with some fucking game, so we have to boycott it, we have to combat it by all means necessary.
Afia, who's a black female pirate, by the way, because you gotta have a black female pirate in order to have this game move forward. And what's the result? Where's all those people on Twitter? Where's all the people on Twitter saying that we need diversity, representation, inclusion? Where are they? It's almost like they don't actually care about these video games. It's almost like they're not interested in this stuff.
I think this is not really productive, especially not for people that actually are fans of these types of games. If you like the commando genre, if you played games from Me before, why not play this game? It's also rather interesting that this Games and Geeks guy with the celebratory shades, that he conveniently didn't read the blog post because in his video he basically just offers this perspective of, the game went under for, SBI's influence. And the thing that ticked him off to this is by reading on Twitter, Kabrutus posted like a post about this studio shutting down. He basically just, echoes this news of, SBI informing people that the Shadow Gambit developers are shutting down. And what SBI did was actually a pretty cool thing in their post. They were offering to connect developers at Mimimi Games to other studios, to get them contracted at other studios, to find work for them, essentially. Playing the middleman and trying to connect the people that they previously collaborated with to other studios. It's a bit sad to see that people even use, acts of kindness like this as ammunition to spread their ideology, to spread their efforts in boycotting all the woke games. Another thing also to keep in mind is that this news is very old, and I don't know why it's getting picked up now, but essentially the Mimimi guys, they already announced that, Shadow Gambit is gonna be their last game 7 months ago. So over half a year ago, this already was discussed. They already made it clear that this is their last game. We went over this before, basically, in the perspective of the studio. However, now, because I guess it's trendy to talk about SBI and to basically shut on everything they do and to basically, point at examples where the industry is failing, we're pointing at a strained indie studio that has been in the business for over a decade, that always barely got by making really good games, and finally this final game, I guess it didn't perform in the way they did, they expected, or the strain of making always bigger and better games while, always being short of money and, having to put a lot of production time into each fucking game. Maybe that was a final straw that broke the camel's back. And it's sad that we are pointing at this studio as an example of what happens when the game gets wokeified. This is something that I reiterated in the main video, in the main documentary on the main channel, that I reiterated in the other Waffling episode, that I reiterated basically everywhere. We do not know what SBI did. We do not know what their involvement on their project was like. We do not know how much of their influence is reflected in the final game. We don't really know the specifics of what they did and how good they were. All we know is that people liked the game. People that played the game liked the game. For some reason, things didn't work out for the studio, so the studio, while it technically still exists, they are just not making any games anymore. We see a reason, a primary reason on their blog post, that it was due to the strain on their families, the strain on their personal lives, so they had to step back from making more games. And I think it's very unreasonable to reject that hypothesis, that very sound explanation, and then to opt for culture war grift reason as to why this studio is shutting down. Yeah, very unfortunate how people cover this story. Yeah, I wish me the best. It's very unfortunate how people cover the story, but in the culture war space, everything is temporary anyway, so give it a few weeks and people are gonna forget about it. Or give it a few weeks and people are gonna point back to this example over and over again until everyone, just believes the lie or believes the made-up theory that we don't actually have any evidence for. So, final verdict on this video, Geeks and Gamers. Video was quite shite. The presentation was very charged, emotionally charged, very surface level, scraping the surface journalism. You didn't even go to the primary blog post of the studio that, made a statement. Your effort was quite shite, and do better. Next time, read the fucking blog post. Maybe join their Discord server. Maybe look at the news updates. Notice that they made an announcement 7 months ago. Then you could maybe, unjam your head out of your ass and actually figure out, oh, maybe it's not because, the SJWs are taking over the games industry that they are shutting down. Maybe it's because of personal reasons. Maybe it's because they said something that actually made sense, as in, it's too much work, it's too expensive, we can't do it anymore, it's a strain on our families, so we can't make any games anymore. Maybe SBI tried to show some kind of charity in connecting these people to other studios, but of course, it all has to come back together to the woke mind virus. So, yeah, this piece of journalism gets an F grade on my end. F. 6. In Germany it's 6. F grade. It's an F. You fucked up. F for fucked up. Bye-bye.